Welcome to Help! I Have Kids. I'm your host, Pam Marshall, a mom of 5 and a pediatric occupational therapist with over 35 years experience. This podcast is designed to equip you with practical tools, insights from experts, and real-life stories. Because at the end of the day, you are the head of your child's care team. Each week, you'll hear from pediatric experts and fellow moms like you that will help build your confidence. They'll offer clarity and empower you to make informed decisions that work for your whole family. Today, I have a new friend with me. It's Morgan Minter. She is the program director for Erin's Hope for Friends in Kentucky. And you're currently also completing a doctorate in occupational therapy.
Yes, I am.
Which is my heart, because I'm an OT and I love OT. And we happen to go to the same, I graduated from EKU and you're attending EKU's doctorate program. Yeah. So welcome.
Thank you so much.
Well, we'd love to hear about yourself. Tell us about you, a little bit about your family. How did you come about an interest in Erin's Hope?
Yeah. I have a younger brother. He is 15 now. We're 8 years apart, but we grew up together, and at a very young age, he was diagnosed with autism. And I always knew growing up that I wanted to work with kids with special disabilities. I thought that the only way to do that was being a special education teacher, but I didn't like the teaching side of it. I was like, the thought of being in a school all day and doing that type of stuff is not for me. And then he started going to OT, and I, being the sister, would always go with him, or would get to go to some of the therapy visits, and I loved it. And I was like, okay, nope, that's what I want to do. So I think from 4th grade, I've always wanted to be an OT. And then just finding ways for him to get involved. So when he was 11, that was right when COVID hit, and he had been pulled out of school. And so his social skills, that was that 4th grade to 7th grade, he wasn't in school. They were online. Yeah. I'm like, those are such important years to grow those social skills. And he didn't get that. And so we were kind of looking for an outlet for him to get some of those social skills and just be more involved with friends. And so we found Erin's Hope for Friends. And at that point, they were doing all online. And so they would join and they would play video games together, and they would talk and just get to be kids and have some friends. Yeah. And they would have a facilitator on there from Erin's Hope that was the adult on the call to make sure everything was going well.
Yeah, make sure nothing inappropriately was being talked about.
No. So he started doing that. And then as COVID was slowing down some, they started in-person events, and they would use a general space. So it would be the fire station or just the library, places they could find. Yeah. And they would host very similar events. So it was board games and puzzles and yard games, things that they could bring to that location. And they would hang out for 3 hours and make some really good friends. And then they actually opened up their own physical location. And when that happened, they started looking for program staff to help them at their location at that point. And the job came open, and Tammy reached out to me, which she was really big into opening Erin's Hope for Friends. And she was like, hey, there's a spot open. Would you be interested? And all of our events are on the weekends. And so I was able to be in school full time and then also work on the weekend.
Do this on the weekend. What a great mix, and so neat how you got connected through your brother and found them. And so their purpose, they're a nonprofit, right? That their purpose is really connecting. Is it mostly children with autism?
So Erin's Hope for Friends, then there's a little story behind it. So Stacy and Darren Horst were Erin's parents, and they lived in Lexington for a long time. And Erin had, she was autistic, and they lived here, I believe, till she was 16, 17, somewhere in there. And she had a couple really good friends here, moved to Atlanta for her parents' work, and was really struggling to make those friends at that point because she hadn't been with them forever. And so these new kids didn't know some of her quirks. And she just wasn't really doing well making friends, was really struggling with social isolation, and ended up taking her life by suicide. And so her parents made this nonprofit in hopes to give kids that outlet for social interaction and making good, genuine friends where with no judgment in a place with people that are like them.
Yeah. So less isolating, but more of almost like a youth group, so to speak. But
so we have events every weekend that they can come to. And the biggest piece of like why we have events on the weekend was that Erin had always said, like, she would hear people talk about their weekend plans and how, oh, so-and-so gets to go do this weekend or go to the movies with their group of friends. And she didn't have those. And so one of her big things that her parents wanted to do was that they wanted kids to be able to say, oh, I have club this weekend, or like I have plans this weekend. And so all of our events are on the weekend and we have big parties and
that's very
let them
fun.
have a ton of fun. So we have our physical location in Lexington and that's
where is that?
It is right off of New Circle on Newtown Pike, over by BCTC. And so we have that big location and events every weekend. So we have a teen program, and that is 12 to 18. And then our young adult program is 18 to 24. And we also have an ambassador program for after 24, and they kind of act more as our volunteers and just help out throughout those sessions.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about volunteers, what that looks like.
And so they kind of just come and help out at those events. Our teen nights got so big we had to open a second event.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, which is a great problem to have.
Yeah, great problem.
And that's what we just started it this month, was we opened a new teen event. But these kids are amazing and they have a great time.
Have you partnered with any other nonprofits? Like, if I think about why YMCAs have physical buildings, a lot of times aren't used in the evenings.
Yeah, right now we have, we are like I wouldn't say partnership, but we work with a group called Owl, and they have given us a big part of their location there that we've made our room in. And we share our space with them. And we also have, during the week, we allow like different groups to come in and use that space. So there's a therapy group that comes in on one of the days and uses that for their therapy. And so, yeah, we love it. But.
That's pretty special. Can you tell me a story maybe about, like, when you think about a young teen or a young adult that, just found the connection through this group? Can you think of a story like that? I
think one of the biggest one that like always is at like the front of my mind whenever I think of like the genuine purpose of East Club was there was a young adult member. He works at Kroger and has a full-time job. He is the sweetest kid that there ever has been. He's 21 now. And he came in for his interview. So throughout our like membership application, it's not really as much an interview as just like sharing information about each other, making sure that they like truly understand what East Club is and all that. And so during his interview, I was kind of asking him a little bit about himself, and he was there alone, and he was like, yeah, I still live with my parents, but I have this money from my paycheck, and if I can pay to be here and make friends, then like I will happily give you my whole paycheck. And I was like, I don't need your whole paycheck, bud. And it was like the cutest thing ever. And but genuinely just seeing that like deep, I want connection with others.
You wanted it
but
so bad.
Struggled so bad to find it in just different friendships and like different avenues. And so was so willing to be like, I work really hard for this money, but I'll give you all of it. Just let me come and have friends. Sweet. And it was so sweet. But I mean,
and so did he connect? Did he find friends?
So he comes pretty regularly, and he's one of ours that like is a great advocate for like them getting jobs and like being members of society. Yeah. And that they are just as capable as any others.
And he found his friends, his friend group.
It was so cute. Neat. Him and one of his other friends. they didn't realize that they were both there. And he walked into his first event there and he goes, "Hey, you're autistic? I'm autistic." And they apparently went to elementary school together and like knew each other really well, but had no clue that the other was autistic. And it was the cutest thing of them, like just having that realization of like, "Oh my goodness, you're like me."
Yeah.
And so they always come in and they're like, "We went to the bowling alley this Thursday," or "We went and watched movies." And so even seeing them develop that friendship outside of club has been so special to watch.
That's really neat. And so how do you think club is different? Because there aren't a lot of things for kids to do, but how do you think it's different than anything else they've participated in? Like,
I think a lot of like services that you see are for that younger group. So whether that's different therapies or different play groups or social things that they can go to, when you get around that teenage, it starts to get hard. And so I think
it does.
that you see like a gap. Like there are adult services and there are kid services, but sometimes that like teen to young adult range is like awkward in the middle. And so I think Ease Club does a really good job of specifically targeting those ages when it's at their hardest.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a developmental age to go through those social cues and social settings that if you aren't getting that in your life, that it truly does lead to such social isolation.
Yeah. And they struggle with sadness and depression and anxiety like regular teens do, right?
And I think recently it was at 1 in 4 autistic teens to young adults have thoughts of suicidal ideation.
Wow.
And so, I mean, now looking at the numbers, I think it's 1 in 32 kids that have
autism.
Yeah. So I think when you think of 1 out of 4 of all of them that struggle so deeply with that, and autistic teens are 6 times as likely to attempt suicide than their neurotypical peers. So, I mean, when you think of things like that, it's so hard to look at it and go, of course we need services. Like, I mean, if we're not, are we doing a disservice to not hit those people?
And I feel like that education really needs to be out there because I'm not sure the general community understands that
I think the general population and like autism is becoming so much more seen, and I think it is becoming more common, which that's really good because at 1 in 32, I mean that's such a large part of our population
of people,
and so and I think that goes even more with like it doesn't stop when they are leaving high school or things like that. Like they're going to be young adults. They're going to go get jobs. And so having the general population feel that knowledge and just some understanding that while they might have some quirks or like might like certain things different ways, that doesn't mean they're any less capable or any less needing of those social aspects.
That's right. And so this has been good for your brother. What have you observed about him?
He loves Ease Club. He several weekends. So before I started there, I asked him, I was like, "Are you sure you're comfortable with Sissy working there? Like that's where you make friends and have fun." He was like, "Yeah, it'll just be work, Sissy." So it's so funny how like he makes
he knows it.
Yes, he makes the separation because at home he gets to argue and be the younger brother. And I was like, but at East Club, if like I'm there working, so if I ask you to do something, it's not a suggestion. Like I need you to kind of do it.
You have to do it.
And so sometimes work sissy makes him be the one. He is more outgoing, and so I'll be like, "Nathan, so-and-so is over there and doesn't really look like they have a friend right now. Will you go over there and ask them to play air hockey with you?" And so sometimes he is the like, "Go ask him to go do something," and he loves it. He has developed such good friends at East Club. We have a huge like video game section. I am not well versed in video games, but he loves it. And so anytime there's a kiddo that doesn't necessarily understand how to play the game, he'll step in and is like, "Oh, I'll help you learn how to play." So he loves it so much and has been there since they opened the physical location. And so I would like to think is a good example of what great things.
So it sounds like he's taking it on, like, to kind of be the mature one and help those younger kids. That's so cool.
Yeah,
like
he loves
almost
it.
like a little nurturer of the younger ones.
It's so funny because, like, he struggled throughout school to make friends. And those social pieces of it, he genuinely was, like, needing so much. But he struggled so hard to make friends at school, and we worked really hard to teach him that autism isn't something bad about you. Like, it should be your superpower.
Absolutely.
And, like, so working as he grew up, like, getting him to truly believe that. Because it's hard. I mean, kids can be very not nice sometimes. And it's such a hard environment for them to grow up in, especially with social media now. Yeah. And that's a whole...
And it's so confusing for them because they have such a hard time with social cues to understand, why are these kids laughing at me? Or why are they telling me to go away? Or why are they... Whatever, the mean response or just the you're weird response, it's so hard for them to understand that.
There was sometimes where, like, Nathan would talk about something that had happened at school. And as a sister, I hear it and I go, they were being mean. Like, they were bullying him, or, like, they were making fun of him. And sometimes he wouldn't pick up on that. He'd be like, no, they were just making a joke. They weren't trying to hurt my feelings. And I was like, well, I don't know that those are the best friends to hang out with, until, like, it was so hard because he wouldn't necessarily always pick up those cues of, like, someone not being nice.
So he continued to gravitate maybe toward several friends that really actually weren't nice to him and weren't being nice. And that's one thing. We have a lot of moms that are listening, and we just encourage you to teach. If your kids are typical, teach them about kids with autism. Help them be kind and be a friend, and help talk to them about what it is, rather than being mean or thinking that person's weird. And they are different. But that's okay.
I think it's such a big piece of, like, just understanding and exposure to it. Like, I mean, I grew up with Nathan, so I was very used to his little tidbits and quirks.
You probably didn't even notice them sometimes. Like,
I mean, like, there are some things that I'm like, you mean your brother didn't do X, Y, and Z? And they're like, no. I'm like, oh, okay. That was just a Nathan thing.
Nathan.
Like, one of his things is he is, like, his brain is so vast, and, like, he has so many fun facts stored in there. So, like, he'll spout off something and you're like, there's no way. Like, there's no way you know that. You Google it, and lo and behold, he was right. But, like, just growing up and having that, he was such a good younger brother. And, I mean, I would always babysit him because, like, we had that age gap. But not, like, when he was super, super little, like, even a hug for him, like, physical affection genuinely hurt him. Like, it was painful because it was so overstimulating. So
you had to understand that you probably wanted to hug him because he's your little brother. And you had to understand, wait a minute, that's not good for him.
Or, like, picking up on those social pieces. And he has been in OT since he was 3. And so, like, seeing his growth has been amazing. Like, I was looking back at pictures the other day. You know how, like, memories pop up on Facebook? And it was some of, like, him in his Halloween costume, and over the years how much even just a picture of him changed. Not physically, but, like, you could tell him being more interactive with, like, the camera. Like, he used to not ever smile at the camera, or, like, he
he kind of shut down?
Like, he was in the picture, but, like, would look off to the side, and, like, there might be a little grin. But, like, now we just have family photos made, and he'll look at the camera and smile and loves it. So, or, well, I shouldn't say loves it. He does not love a picture, but he's a teenage boy, so that makes sense.
But he does it.
But
I just love kids with autism. They're just amazing. They're all so unique. And I think the first child with autism that I remember meeting, I don't know, I could have met somebody before this, but growing up, I mean, I probably was pretty young when I was aware of it. We had a neighbor who maybe, I think he was the only child, but he was an older teenager at this point. And I probably was middle school age or something. And he was like your brother, stored a lot of facts, but he would ask everybody, when's your birthday? And you would share the date and the year you were born, and he would proceed to rattle off everything that happened that day.
That's so cool.
And it was wild that he could retain that much information. And I remember thinking to myself, a young little preteen or teen, however old I was, like, that's fascinating. How does he do that? And just being enamored with his ability to do that. And no, he didn't have great social skills. I think his parents, they seemed to be inside all the time. You know, he didn't have, back then we didn't have resources or really language to understand who he was and, you know, to know that he had autism. And he was very bright, but he wasn't functional in the everyday social emotional. So I think back to, wow, he never had the opportunity to have friends, like a group like this, like a club, like what you're leading and doing. So
and I just think it is, I didn't realize it. I mean, I'm neurotypical, but I do have a heart condition and a disability that way. But like realizing that it's so very different. Like I thought there would be some similarities of like,
every kid is so different.
Yeah, of like just that, because I struggled sometimes growing up making friends just because like I couldn't do some of the physical things with my heart condition. But it is such a very different piece of it when I was able to pick up on those cues of they don't want me to play with them. And so like it's so hard to watch him realize those things. I mean, even just the other day, he came home and was talking about how he was trying to make a joke and there was something that he didn't pick up on. And so he was like, I think I hurt her feelings, but I'm not sure. And like, he just, it's set so hard with him because he doesn't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And
he takes it to heart.
And so he was asking us, like, is there any way we can talk about how I can apologize to her? And so like, Mom and Dad worked with him some this weekend, but like he's such a sweet kid and all he wants is to be that friend for other people. And the way that they communicate at club is so interesting because obviously we're not doing therapy there, but we are there as facilitators. So like we listen on conversations and like try to stay as hands off, but obviously if we are needed, we step in. But like hearing how different their types of friendships are. Like we have some kiddos that their version of friendship is sitting by someone while they're playing the video game. Like I can't play with you. That might be too much, but I'll sit here and watch you play it and like talk to you while you play it. Or I'm not good at such and such, like playing Scrabble or but can I sit next to you and you help me play Scrabble? And so seeing the different types of friendships and the way that I would describe some of my friendships would be so different. So like not placing our expectations of friendship on them, I think is one of the most important things.
Letting them learn to navigate it and figure out what does friendship look like for them. And that's good.
I mean, like we have some kiddos that they'll come in and they have this imaginary world and every week they come in and they will play and gallivant around the room and you're like, I have no clue what is happening, but I love it for you all. We have, my brother was part of this. We have a group of teenage boys that wanted to play poker and I did not know this. And I walk by and I just see them with a deck of cards and like handfuls of Legos. And I was like,
that they were using for poker chips?
I said, what is happening here? And I like asked them and they're like, nothing. And I asked Nathan later, I was like, what were you all doing? And if there's anything he can't do is lie. He is like has truth
honest
serum on all day, every day. And he was like, we were playing underground Lego poker. And I was like, where did that come from? And so
somebody probably watched a poker show.
It was probably my brother.
They're on. It's on all the time. There are people who are fascinated by those poker games.
Four teenage boys sat around a table and played Lego poker for like 2.5 hours. And I was like, this is great. And so like those ways that they communicate, and while it might not be what we would imagine, like our biggest thing is we try not to step in unless like we notice some overstimulation or an escalation that like wouldn't we would want
or a
to
negative behavior and getting ready to burst.
But like sometimes they'll get so excited that like they got to stand up and scream that they want something.
Yeah.
And while like no, you wouldn't typically see someone in bingo jump up and yell bingo and try to climb on top of the chair. Like that's just them getting so genuinely excited. And trying to fit their needs as best as we can while they're there. It's like we have a sensory table and a sensory corner that has like a swing and different lights. So giving them those opportunities for regulation while giving them those super exciting friendships and games and sometimes frustrating games because losing isn't fun sometimes. But giving them those facilitation needs as well.
This sounds so great. It sounds like amazing. And I bet moms that are listening that didn't know about this club are definitely going to be checking it out.
Yeah. And I think our biggest and easiest way to find us is on Facebook. And it's just Erin's Hope for Friends Kentucky. We do have an Atlanta location as well. So make sure you type in the Kentucky. But, and we post all of our events on there as well. And some photos of our space and different things like that. So
it's really, really beautiful. I love it. And what you mentioned that some connections are leading to like jobs or other things. Are there things that happen because of these friendships outside of even club? Like, have you heard that where?
I know we have one that he is one of our ambassadors and he loves trains. Like that's his thing. And he would come in and talk about trains. And we've actually had, I think, 2 other members now go and get their, I'm going to forget what it's called, but they're like train conductors. I don't know if it's a license or certification maybe.
Yeah.
And like that is now their thing too. And they love trains, but they didn't know how to get into it. And so like them helping each other make those connections, and like they'll come in and they'll watch trains on our they'll borrow our projector and like watch videos together, and it is so cool. So seeing them, like we have another that she got a job as a custodian at a hotel, and she helped one of her other friends get a job there too. So
that's really neat.
While we do not market that we are helping them get jobs, but like those connections. And it's so much now with jobs are who you know and how you know them. And so seeing them use their connections that they've built there to find their job that they love or their little happy place is so cool.
Yeah. Well, and what about, I think a lot of people's eyes have been open with the show Love on the Spectrum.
Yeah.
So what about love? What about relationships? Is there any of that?
We have some that have been in relationships. We do remind them that Ease Club is a friend space. So while they're at Ease Club, we ask that they remain friendly of like, just so for everyone else. But we have had
not PDA going on.
Yeah. We have had some that have dated outside of club. We had some, it was the cutest thing ever the other day. One of the little boys, he is so like experimental with like just his things and like his art projects. And he had accidentally broken something, and so I was having a conversation with him, and he was like, I just don't know what to say. I just get loopy sometimes. And I was like, what do you mean loopy? He was like, well, whenever so-and-so is around, I just get silly. And I was like, is this 12-year-old boy telling me he has a crush right now? And I think he was, and it was the cutest thing ever. And so seeing them, like, I've never seen Nathan act so comfortable as he does with someone else that's autistic. They have this unspoken language, and
connection that
they just get each other. And while Nathan working on his skills there is great, and I know that he's made some good friends at school too, I have never seen him as like comfortable and relaxed as he is at club. And I've seen that in other kids too, which I don't see them at home, or at school. But I've heard what their parents say. And they say the same thing of their kids genuinely love Ease Club and making those friends with peers that I'm not going to say no judgment, because sometimes they give each other judgment of like, well, I don't like those shoes, but I'll still be your friend. Like, but having that peer-to-peer unofficial communication where like they just get each other, and it's such a hard thing to like put words to or even like pinpoint what does it, but like just giving them that space to build connection. And
it's like an unspoken, a language of their own that isn't language. That's
I mean,
other ways.
And I like to think that sometimes I can pick up on certain things, but then there are other times where I'm like, I don't understand what's going on, but they're having a fun time, so I'm going to let them roll with it, and really trying to not place our expectations on them for what we think it should look like.
So do parents connect too? I'm sure that's probably kind of natural.
We've had some
would connect a little bit.
We have some parents that like to hang out in the conference rooms, and they'll kind of talk during that. So during our member events, it's no parents allowed, and the kids love that.
Yeah, to have a space without their parents.
And so they get to have that time. A lot of the parents use that time as like, oh, I can go run errands, or, but we do have some that hang out in our conference room and build that connection, as well as our like open house events that we have twice a month. That's open for everyone in the community. So our parents will come out to that with their kiddos and hang out and talk and build those connections of parents that also don't know what they're doing having kids. And so like trying to navigate that like teen time, because teens are hard and puberty is hard. So like learning those pieces, I've seen a lot of the parents struggle with like going through puberty, because that still happens when you're autistic. And
it does. And all kinds of big emotions can come out with that.
Absolutely.
And speaking of big emotions, is there like a prerequisite of what kids, behavior-wise, if they have strong outbursts, does that disqualify them from coming? Or how does that work? Because, there are some kids that can't regulate themselves. And you want it to be safe and someone not being hit or hurt.
That's our biggest piece of why we have the open houses. And so we talk about those as like those are our opportunities for them to try out club, kind of see how it's going to work for them. We have some families that come specifically to open houses, and like that is their level that they think is good for them. But we are always willing to try. So if they think it might just be a little bit of like work and getting used to. So our member events, there's no parents in the room, but they can sit right in our conference room, which is next to the big room. So if we ever needed them, we can walk straight over there, grab them really quick, and they can come help too.
So if there was a kid who you weren't sure, or the parent wasn't sure if they could do it or not,
I feel like
they stay right there.
We're able to kind of share that we have a really awesome staff. There's, I think, 3 future OTs, and there is our other program assistant has a vast like history of working with kids with special needs as well. And so our staff is so great that like I have full confidence in our staff. And I'm not going to say we've never had any outburst or like things like that, but honestly the events run really smooth, and some of those kids that the parents were really worried about do great. So I think we try to fit the needs of regulation, and like if we notice there's some overstimulation happening, we can always pull a kid out and say, hey, how about we take a walk in the hallway and just like take a couple laps. Or if we know that we have some teens that they come for an hour and we know an hour is their limit, and
then they need to go.
And so like their parents just know, after an hour, I'm going to come get them. And so, I mean, they're 3-hour events. That's a long time. And we just kind of work through that of how can Ease Club suit them the best. So whether that's them coming for the first hour or the last hour.
And I know something that really helps our staff, because we get a lot of young children who haven't maybe learned to regulate their big emotions, is de-escalation, is training on safety in a very dignified way where it's very respectful and honorable of the child, as well as protecting the adult. That's, might be the one the child is lashing out at.
Yeah.
And really helps to have de-escalation training and the training to how to get out of if someone pulls your hair or if someone's grabbing you, or it really helps.
Yeah,
in a
one of our
way.
biggest things is like we talk about what Ease Club is there for. So the parents that are typically the kiddos that we have are the ones that really want to be there, and so I would say a lot of times, and it's just a big playroom. So I'm not going to say they never have big feelings, because they do, but I think it is a very positive place. That
so good.
A lot of them do really great in this space. And so our staff, one of our biggest things is like, it is one big room that we have. So we typically will try to pull out in the hallway if there's like, we notice
someone's rising.
Yeah. But we also have like our sensory table. And so we have like a rice and kinetic sand and different sensory toys. And then in our sensory corner, we have the swing and a big cushy beanbag chair and weighted stuffed animals and headphones as well, because it does get loud in there sometimes. But just really catering Ease Club to them and what they think or need in that time and setting is our biggest piece for sure.
Well, it sounds like you're such a gift
thank you.
To the young people that come there, but also to Ease Club.
Thank you.
And that I'm so happy to have met you and to hear about what you get to do. And I'm excited about your future as an OT.
Yes, thank you.
Really exciting. I know. And a lot of parents listening are going to be encouraged that there's something out there, a place their kids can go, because their child's a little different and they need to be with other kids that are different like them.
And I will say, I think my biggest thing is while we are catered towards autism, we do not ask for any formal diagnosis. So I know that is a big thing in that community of sometimes diagnoses take a long time, or they're complicated to get, and just different. There's a lot of working pieces. So we never ask for any formal diagnosis. If you think Ease Club is something that your child will benefit from, of that social interaction, that's enough for us. We don't, and we will work with you on any other medical conditions that are kind of going on, but we just want Ease Club to be a space for social interaction. And we think that if it is something that benefits them, that's where our knowledge needs to stop of anything formal.
Yeah, that's so good. I love what you do.
Thank you.
It's making a difference.
I love it too. I am so glad that I've gotten this opportunity.
Yeah, it's amazing. And thankful for the family that started it.
Yes, yeah.
Because it's a big need.
They are amazing too. And they like to come up and come visit too. And so I cannot express my gratitude to them more.
It's neat that they chose to turn their pain into something good. And it's rewarding, I think, when you go through that heart-wrenching journey to have some good coming out of it. Must warm their hearts when they come up and see it.
It does.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Thanks so much for listening to Help, I Have Kids. If you're tuning into this podcast, that means you're a mom who's curious, committed, and ready to learn. And we see you. We'd love for you to join our Help, I Have Kids Facebook community, where moms just like you are connecting, asking questions, and encouraging each other every day. It's a space for real conversations, expert insight, and support from moms who get it, because we're all in this together. And if you know a mom who's feeling unsure or maybe overwhelmed, or just needs to be reminded that she can do it, she can advocate for her child with confidence, share this episode with her. We're building a village here, and we're glad you're a part of it.